Libra, my radiant soul sibling, let's get one thing clear right from the start. Tomorrow, you are being offered not one but two divine gifts. And they're not ordinary blessings. One will touch your material world. The other, your emotional truth. Together, they mark the beginning of a new era. If you're ready. Now I want you to take a breath and feel this. You didn't land on this video by accident. Your higher self called it in. At some point in your journey, maybe in a quiet moment of prayer, or a sleepless night full of questions, you whispered to the universe, "Show me the way." And today, the universe responds. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where we don't just read cards, we translate soul contracts. And yours, Libra, is activating as we speak. Right now, I can feel a sacred vibration building around your sign. I see two doors opening wide, golden light pouring through each one. But here's the catch, they won't wait forever. You must choose, will you walk through them? Or stay with what no longer serves you? I need you to hear this clearly, this is your divine return. Not because you begged for it. Not because you chased it. But because you endured. Because you held your ground when no one clapped, when no one stayed, when no one believed. And now, heaven is moving on your behalf. The energy I see in the cards today is unlike anything we've touched in recent weeks. I'm talking about Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, the Empress, and Justice, your birthright card. These aren't just symbols. They are spiritual confirmations that abundance and emotional clarity are converging in your field. And yes, just like it says in scripture, to the one who sowed with faith, double shall be given in the time of harvest. Libra, your harvest is here. Now, before we dive deeper, allow me to take one sincere moment to say thank you. For being here. For watching. For every like, every thoughtful comment, every subscription that expands our beautiful family here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. You are the reason this light keeps growing. You are why we keep whispering these messages from the divine. And trust me, beloved Libra, you're going to want to stay with me all the way to the end today, because what's coming is beyond logic, beyond prediction. What's coming is truth. Your truth. So I have a question for you, right now, as you feel this energy rising. What drew you here today? What sign, what whisper, what inner knowing nudged you to click? Let's anchor this energy together. Go to the comments and write, "I'm ready to step through the double doors of destiny." Or simply affirm, 777, I'm aligned with divine timing. When you type it, you claim it. When you declare it, it activates. Now, take a breath. Feel into your heart. Because this journey is just beginning and the path forward is brighter than you think. Shall we begin? There's a moment subtle, almost imperceptible, when life presents us with more than just a choice. It offers a sacred intersection. And Libra, that moment is upon you now. As we move deeper into this message, I want you to hold close the image we spoke of earlier. Two doors, opening simultaneously, neither more important than the other, both reflections of your readiness. One offers you material security and opportunity, a breakthrough, something that validates the effort you've poured into your external world. The other offers a deep shift in how you feel, love, and allow yourself to receive tenderness without condition or performance. This isn't an either-or moment. It's both. Many times, life trains us to believe we must choose between love and success, between fulfillment and stability, between giving and receiving. But your soul, Libra, was born under the sign of divine balance. You came into this life carrying the ability to hold two truths, two values, two desires at once without contradiction. What's unfolding now isn't just a coincidence. It's a mirror of the harmony you've worked hard to create within. The alignment that's happening is not only external, it's vibrational. And that's why these two doors are appearing together. From an energetic perspective, the Ace of Pentacles is not just about money or career, it's about value. It reflects how you've grown in your understanding of your own worth. This card enters when your field has been refined enough to hold greater abundance without losing your center. Meanwhile, the Ace of Cups is emotional invitation. It arrives when your heart has softened without collapsing, when your boundaries are strong but no longer walled. To see both cards in the same spread is extremely rare and incredibly auspicious. It tells me that your field is balanced between grounded self-worth and open-hearted love. Think of this as a moment on a spiritual hilltop. You've climbed long and quiet, mostly unseen, carrying parts of your journey that others would have set down long ago. And now, with the winds calm and sky clearing, you're standing at the crest where two paths unfold. This isn't a test. This is recognition. This is permission. The key now is not to overthink which would tip the scale out of balance, but to feel what resonates. Trust that the healed version of you already knows which way to lean. The law of attraction teaches that like attracts like, but more deeply, it teaches that what is ready will be revealed. When you align with sufficiency, life multiplies. When you release the belief that you have to earn love or grind for success, these things come to you with grace, not struggle. What's happening now is not the result of force, but of surrender. You've done the work. You've cleared the clutter. You've healed enough to hold more. And so the universe, without needing permission, has sent both gifts at once. Sometimes in our busy modern lives, it's easy to forget that divine timing doesn't always follow our deadlines. But that doesn't mean it isn't precise. In fact, some of the most extraordinary shifts come not through striving, but through stillness. Think of the single mother who quietly prays while doing dishes, or the overworked student who takes one deep breath between exams. These aren't grand spiritual rituals, but they're portals nonetheless. Faith doesn't always roar, it often whispers. So as you stand at this energetic fork in the road, I gently encourage you to ask, where does my energy feel softest? Where is the pull coming from? Not the one shouting from the mind, but the one humming quietly in the chest. Share your answer in the comments if you feel called. Sometimes, just naming it aloud begins the shift. Declare it with clarity, not hesitation. Because clarity is magnetic. And Libra, remember this, you don't have to choose what part of you is worthy today. You are allowed to say yes to love and to stability. You are allowed to walk through both doors. Because the real magic is not in the choice, but in knowing you never had to divide yourself in the first place. There's a quiet kind of power that comes when you no longer need to prove who you are to anyone. Libra, if you're sensing a strange calm Latilia sort of gentle distance from things that used to trigger you or tug at your need for approval, that's not detachment. That's evolution. You're not just walking through a new phase, you've become someone new within it. This isn't the version of you that bends in every direction just to maintain peace. This is the version that is peace, even when the room around you can't quite hold it. Not long ago, you may have found yourself constantly adjusting, shrinking in spaces that didn't honor you, overgiving to people who only took, second-guessing your worth if it wasn't mirrored back in compliments or validation. But something has shifted. The scales that once swung wildly now feel steady. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. And that kind of inner recalibration doesn't just happen overnight. It comes from quiet work, from sitting with the discomfort of no longer chasing belonging in places that don't know how to hold you. In astrology, Libra is often seen as the sign of harmony, of relational balance, of keeping things beautiful. But what people forget is that Libra is also a sign ruled by air, intelligent, independent, and often incredibly self-aware. The growth you've moved through recently has taken that awareness and grounded it in something unshakable: self-ownership. You're no longer molding yourself to fit others' expectations. You're no longer chasing connection just to avoid the sting of loneliness. You've learned how to be with yourself in ways that feel like coming home. And with that shift comes a whole new kind of magnetism. You're not seeking light anymore, you are the light. That's the energy of someone who's done the inner work, who doesn't need to announce it loudly but radiates it in every subtle, powerful way. When you enter a room now, you don't perform. You presence. You've stepped out of the costume of who you thought you had to be, and now you're walking calmly, clearly in the truth of who you are. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. I often remind people that in every spiritual journey, there's a moment where the noise fades, and the only voice that matters is the one you've been quieting the longest, your own. You've found that voice, Libra. You've started listening. And the universe has noticed. If you're willing, take a few slow breaths with me right now. Close your eyes for 30 seconds and simply feel into this truth. You are receiving more, not because you demanded it, but because you stopped resisting your worthiness to hold it. Imagine that the blessings headed your way: emotional fulfillment, financial breakthrough, unexpected opportunities are not gifts for being good or doing right. They are reflections of the internal restructuring you've undergone. You've made space. You've said no to what doesn't align. And in doing so, you've made room for what's finally ready to arrive. This kind of transformation reminds me of stories I've heard from those who found grace in unexpected places: working parents who held on to hope through exhaustion, caregivers who gave endlessly without praise, individuals who whispered prayers between daily tasks, never knowing if they'd be answered. And then one day, without warning, a door opened. A shift happened. Not because of force, but because the seed of faith, planted in silence, had found its season. Libra, this is your season. Not one of waiting, but of welcoming. Of living not in the shadows of who you were, but in the light of who you've become. You no longer need to wait for someone else to tell you that you've arrived. You're already here. And the best part is you brought yourself. Sometimes growth whispers quietly before it roars. One of the most surprising effects of your inner transformation, Libra, is the way it ripples outward, reaching people who once walked away from your life without explanation or closure. You may begin noticing old names showing up again, familiar faces appearing in your social spaces, or even subtle messages from those who once disconnected when you needed connection the most. And while it can be tempting to interpret their return as a sign of fate or emotional closure, I invite you to pause and feel deeper into what this actually means for you now. You see, your energy has changed. You're no longer seeking validation. You're no longer filling in the emotional gaps that others created. You've done the work. You've peeled back the layers of self-abandonment and learned how to stay present with yourself through joy and disappointment. That kind of authenticity, that unshakable self-clarity, shines like a beacon. It doesn't just call in the right people, it sometimes calls back the ones who left, because your light now illuminates what they couldn't see before. But here's the truth not everyone tells you. Not all returns are reconciliations. Some are just reflections. Some are simply reminders of how far you've come. And others, though they may be dressed in apologies or nostalgia, are invitations to repeat an old lesson you've already graduated from. This is why discernment is everything. Just because someone reappears doesn't mean they're meant to re-enter. Energetically, this aligns with what we often see when the Seven of Swords shows up in a reading. It's not always about deception in the traditional sense, but about intention. Are they returning because they've changed, or because you have? Is their presence rooted in accountability, or in curiosity about your glow? These are questions only you can answer from the still, wise place within you, the place that doesn't just remember what happened, but remembers how it felt. In astrology, Libra governs partnerships, but more than that, it rules the mirror. When someone from the past returns, it's rarely about the surface details. It's about how their energy reflects back to you who you were when they left. And who you are now. Numbers like 6, 8, and 10 are often seen in numerology as signposts, 6 for emotional alignment, 8 for karmic balance, and 10 for completion. When you begin to see these numbers around moments of reconnection, take note. These aren't coincidences. They're quiet confirmations that something deeper is being asked of you. Will you revisit the past, or rise in your present? This is where I invite you to reflect, softly, without judgment. If someone who once broke your heart came back with words they couldn't say before, what would you do? Would you open your arms, or protect your peace? Would you need to answer, or is your silence already the closure? In a world that glorifies romanticized reunion stories, it's brave to admit that some chapters are better left closed. Not out of resentment, but out of reverence for how far you've come. Even in scripture, we see reminders that not every door that knocks deserves to be opened, especially when your house has finally become a sanctuary. So, take your time. Don't rush to respond. Let your healing speak for you. And if it feels right, I encourage you to leave a comment below and answer this sacred question. What would you say or not say if someone from your past returned today? Sometimes writing it down is enough to release it from your body, from your timeline, from your energy field completely. Your light has changed, Libra. And that means not everyone who once held space in your life will know how to meet you where you are now. And that's okay. You're not rejecting them, you're honoring yourself. What if the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever wanted is something you're still holding on to? It's a gentle yet powerful realization, Libra, that sometimes the very act of clinging is what blocks the blessing. And this moment in your journey, this exact chapter of your life, is whispering one clear message: to receive more, you must be willing to release. Not out of punishment, not because you're broken, but because the space you've outgrown no longer reflects who you're becoming. Energy moves where space is made for it. That's not just a spiritual concept, it's a universal law. Whether we're talking about relationships, opportunities, or emotional healing, nothing new can truly enter if our hands and hearts are already full. This is why letting go isn't a loss, it's a clearing. A sacred making room. And right now, you're being asked to put down the heavy backpack you've carried through years of self-doubt, people-pleasing, and silent striving. You're standing in front of a door lined with gold possibility, peace, prosperity, but it won't open unless your soul is light enough to walk through. So, let's talk about the things that may be weighing you down, even if you've become used to carrying them. Maybe you've been wearing a role that was never really yours, one where you shrink to keep others comfortable, or overextend to be loved. Maybe there's a dream you once had that no longer fits the vision of your life, but you've held onto it because it gave you identity. Or perhaps it's the quiet lies you've repeated to yourself for years. I'm not enough. I don't deserve that kind of love. Success isn't for people like me. These beliefs don't belong to the you that exists now. They're echoes from a version of you who simply didn't know better yet. It's okay. We've all carried stories that expired long ago. What matters now is that you're being offered a divine exchange. Let go of what no longer serves you, and in return, receive double what aligns. This is what double luck truly means, not a sudden win, not a flash of fate, but a synchronized moment where what you release determines what you receive. You don't have to force it. You don't have to prove you're ready. You just have to be honest with what's still living inside you that doesn't belong in your next chapter. I've worked with many people who only began to see financial abundance, meaningful love, or creative flow after they let go of something seemingly small but energetically massive. A toxic friendship, an inherited belief, a job that drained them. And when they finally said, "I'm done carrying this," something opened. Not because the world changed, but because they did. So here's a practice I'd love for you to try, if it feels aligned. Write down 3 things you're ready to release. Don't overthink. Just write. It could be a habit, a fear, a name, an expectation, or a thought you've carried for too long. Then when you feel ready, burn the paper in a safe place. Watch it dissolve, return to ash. And as you do, speak this aloud: I am worthy of double blessings because I have released enough to receive them. This isn't magic. It's alignment. It's a physical act that mirrors an energetic truth. You're not letting go to lose. You're letting go to live. And the door ahead? It will open the moment you stop knocking with hands full of yesterday. So take your time, Libra. Honor the space that's clearing. Because what's coming next is bigger than anything you've ever held before. There are moments in your life, perhaps even this moment, where the veil between possibility and reality becomes so thin, so tender, that all it takes is one quiet yes from your heart to initiate a cascade of blessings. As we move from the act of letting go into the grace of receiving, the cards before you are not just symbolic, they are spiritual signposts pointing you back to your power. You no longer wait to be chosen, beloved. You are the one doing the choosing now. The choosing of hope, of truth, of alignment, of light. Let's begin with Ace of Pentacles, the first sacred mirror. This card is a divine nod from the universe that material opportunities are aligning behind the scenes. A new job offer, a financial breakthrough, a surprise message that changes everything that's on its way. Often, these blessings are hidden in plain sight: an email you haven't opened yet, a casual message from someone you least expect, or a sudden invitation. This is your reminder to stay alert in the next 48 hours. Clear your inbox, answer your calls, and check your spam folder. Destiny sometimes wears ordinary clothes. What looks like a small seed could grow into a tree that bears fruit for generations. Then comes the Ace of Cups, and with it, the healing you've quietly longed for. This is more than romantic love, it's sacred self-acceptance. If your heart has been aching from silence, rejection, or disappointment, this card is your whisper from the divine. You are worthy of tenderness. One gentle exercise. Write a love letter to yourself. Pour into that paper all the words you wish someone had said to you and then read it aloud under candlelight. You'll be amazed at how your nervous system softens, how your soul leans in. This is emotional hydration. This is you tending to your inner garden. Six of Wands follows as the trumpet of celebration. After periods of invisibility, you're about to be seen, celebrated, and lifted. Whether you've been working hard in silence, showing up with consistency, or simply doing the deep inner work, this is the card of public recognition. Someone is watching you. Someone has taken note of your light. And soon, the curtain will rise. Don't downplay this moment. Own it. Because when the world sees your light, it is only reflecting what you've already lit within yourself. The beauty of the Empress cannot be overstated. This isn't just a card, it's a confirmation. You are in a divine gestation phase. Whether it's a business idea, a creative project, a new way of living, or a sacred identity waiting to emerge, this is the phase where you trust the invisible. Like a child growing in the womb, you might not see the full manifestation yet, but that doesn't mean it's not forming. This card asks you to nourish yourself. Eat well, sleep deeply, protect your energy, and surround yourself with people who believe in your dreams as if they're already here. Because on an energetic level, they are. And finally, Justice, the card of karmic restoration and divine timing. This is not about revenge or demanding fairness. This is about spiritual alignment. When justice appears, it means the scales are balancing without your force. What was taken will be restored. What was hidden will be revealed. What was denied will be returned tenfold. You don't need to chase after closure anymore, it's walking toward you. This is especially sacred for Libra energy, reminding you that when you stand in truth and grace, everything that belongs to you will find its way home. In the middle of all this cosmic movement, I invite you to pause and feel. Which card stirs something inside of you? Which one mirrors your current season? Go to the comments and write it down. That act alone, naming what resonates, becomes a form of energetic alignment. Declare it. Anchor it. You might just surprise yourself with how quickly things begin to move. So many people wait for signs, but what they don't realize is they are the sign. You're not late. You're not behind. You are right on time, and these cards are simply gentle confirmations of what your soul has always known. As you engage with these sacred symbols, may they awaken the quiet courage in you, the courage to choose joy again, to dream again, and to believe again. Keep your eyes open. Your double luck is not just a possibility, it's already unfolding. The journey you've just experienced wasn't only a message, it was a mirror. A mirror of your strength, your endurance, your quiet bravery when no one was watching. You've walked through your pain, you've stood up when it felt easier to disappear, and you've learned not to wait for permission to shine. And now, beloved Libra, the universe responds in kind, not just with one blessing, but with two, amplified by the law of vibrational return. This is more than a reading, it's a moment of activation. You're not who you were when this video began. Something shifted inside you. Maybe it was when you heard the Ace of Pentacles whisper, "Opportunity is arriving." Maybe it was when the Empress reminded you of the sacred life force that lives within your soul. Or maybe it was the Justice card, the one ruled by your own sign, gently confirming that what was once broken is already on its way to restoration. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are choosing. Choosing healing over resentment. Choosing purpose over fear. Choosing to be seen, not for what the world expected of you, but for who your spirit already knows you are. So now I ask you, Libra, are you ready to receive double for your trouble? Will you allow the harvest to meet you because of the seeds you never gave up on planting? Type 777 in the comments if you're ready to receive your divine double portion. Type 888 if your soul is open to financial overflow, abundance, and spiritual prosperity. Type Libra Libra if you know you were born for more, and you're claiming that identity now. This isn't superstition. This is alignment. This isn't luck. This is universal law responding to your inner truth. You didn't come this far just to survive. You came to thrive, to rise, to light up your corner of the world with the beauty that only a Libra soul can bring. You are balance, you are grace, and you are transformation in motion. Say this affirmation aloud or write it in the comments to anchor your energy. I, a Libra soul, open my heart to receive two sacred rewards from the universe. I welcome transformation with love, not fear. I live. I love. I prosper. Let these words echo in your field like a tuning fork. Let them rewire old beliefs, dissolve lingering doubts, and become a declaration of who you're becoming. No one can take from you what the divine has stamped with your name. If this video spoke to your soul, I invite you to like it, lock in this vibration of truth. Subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot so you never miss another moment like this. And please, share it with someone else who needs a miracle. Your ripple could be their awakening. You've planted light today, Libra. Let this video be your first rain. Let the blessings bloom. And as always, I'm honored to walk beside you. You're not just the one who waited for a miracle. You are the miracle.